Yo, this is the Scarcity Studios YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. And our sponsors are Alpha Claims and Hire Birmingham, the leading and best accident management company. Get a replacement car anywhere in 1 hour. I really appreciate you joining me today, and this story is a follow-up to the Thomas Maher story that we covered in relation to Encrochat. And please don't forget to check out our coverage on the first ever defence that has won an Encrochat case. And that is the story of 6'7" member Gxngs known as Miles Headley, who won his defence after being arrested in connection to an Encrochat case. And we really want to hear from anybody that is experiencing legal problems due to this, anybody that has won a case, anybody that believes that a conviction has been done and breached human rights as well. Because as much as we cover the cases, the convictions and what is going on, we are always trying to highlight anything that is wrong with what is happening. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the Cheshire dad whose secret life was revealed, and they said that he worked with the Colombian cartel. They also talk about the effects that this had on the industry during lockdown. He was initially investigated before this due to the 39 asylum seekers that were found dead in the back of a lorry in Essex. Him and his wife formerly owned the lorry that was used, and the police believed that they was involved allegedly in the importation of them people. 4 men were actually jailed for a combined total of 78 years for their involvement in smuggling in the people that would go on to die. And the 39 deaths, of course, brought a lot of attention to what was going on. But then during the Encrochat hack that followed, they revealed messages about him discussing his criminal life. Yesterday, they released images of the cars, the jewellery that he owned, the amount of watches, and also where he used to eat as well with his family. He ran a haulage business and he lived in a modest home in the suburbs of Warrington in Cheshire. And to unsuspecting neighbours, he was just an ordinary bloke who ran a successful business. The dad of 3 was in fact secretly involved in international drug deals and brokering purchases for deadly transnational crime gangs, the Liverpool Echo reported last year. His home in Woolston area of Warrington provided him easy access to the M6 and M62. Thomas was jailed as a result of a massive police operation that allowed investigators to read real-time messages on the Encrochat phone network. The National Crime Agency has provided the transcripts and the messages that Thomas sent on the network, and this reveals the degree of his involvement in the drug trade. They said that he went under the handle of Satirical and discussed moving cocaine out of Colombia where the drug was sourced. The messages between him and other drug dealers were intercepted by the NCA, and they've removed some of the names of the people that he was communicating with. In a redacted username, said, "I have a gate into sending from Colombia and Africa," and said that all of the links were on this side too. Thomas's reply was, "Did it work out okay and everything?" The response from his link said, "No mate, it was called off over the virus. I had it all lined up as well, but the Australia side called it off until coronavirus is over." Satirical said, "That is a good move mate. More time to crack on and think about it when this shit is over." His redacted friend said, "1,000,000% mate," and followed it up with, "If got right, we moved the post." Satirical sent a thumbs up emoji, and in another section of discussion, they spoke about rival crime gangs that were present in Sweden and also business opportunities in China. And they also spoke about Bitcoin, buying properties in Africa, and the conversion rate. In other transcripts, Thomas negotiates the price of moving drugs from Holland to Ireland. In a redacted username message, it says, "I'll find out. Your guys meet direct on the ground here too, and have that constant just with yourself. The other one I'm waiting on now in the UK to do the same gig. Just waiting on details of number fits into stash. How often and routes, etc. for both of the runs." He then said, "It's 3k bit euro to Ireland," and he says he'll sort somebody else out with that. Thomas replied back and said, "I'll say that to my pal now. I wasn't sure the price mate, and I know he'd done a job 3 weeks ago that paid 2.5 grand per part and said it was dear enough. That's not me being a cunt. We're just saying what he said back to me." The redacted username replied back and said, "I'll see what I can do on filling them in. Usually can have wiggle room, or if I put a few on with yours, I'll take drinks out of it." In another transcript, Thomas discusses a colleague who had been jailed as a result of an NCA-led investigation into his tax affairs. Thomas acknowledges growing pressure from the NCA in the UK and talks about fleeing the country. He then says, mate, look at a lot of these cases and big players. In their eyes, normally it's only conspiracy they get done on and can get big time. But here is the worst place with conspiracy laws. And at home, I didn't have them laws until last 2 or 3 years they brought it in. He then says, that is why I never moved to the UK. I was going to like 20 years ago. He then said it's mad, mate. I don't know him. I've never met him. But a fella said, probably always played it right, slipped up on the Tazza, and then it's been thrown at him. Once I get clear on this, I must sort my tax bill. And I'm away, mate. All they would need to do is get a conspiracy on me for anything. Thomas then talks about an associate in Spain who has been jailed for 32 years and now was considering to flee to Cyprus, where there was no extradition treaty with the UK. He said that was a very good idea and a good plan to put together. Pulls indoors are a load of bollocks, and the lad doing 32 years was in a gaff in Marbella that was like £10 million. Maher then discusses how to set up a front company in Spain, which he can use to move drugs. The messages revealed the men plan to set up a legitimate haulage firm to import legal items into the UK and Ireland. But this activity would then be used to smuggle cocaine, cash and firearms. He told his friend that he needed to get back into it and find out if he had a driver and a pal lined up. They also speak about the effects that lockdown has had on drug dealing as well. One of their customers in London that usually takes 20 loads a day was only taking 4. Thomas Maher came to the attention of the police once the discovery of the 39 Vietnamese migrants who died in the back of the lorry was discovered. Police were unable to charge him with their deaths, but the NCA became interested in his affairs, which he earlier said in messages was his worst nightmare. And it became clear to the police when they managed to penetrate the Encrochat network. On June the 13th last year, Thomas Maher, 40, was arrested in Warrington during a raid by the NCA. He later pled guilty to 2 charges relating to importing Class A drugs into the UK and 2 charges of money laundering. Thomas, originally from Ireland, was jailed for 14 years during a hearing last December for drug and money laundering offences. After he was sentenced in December, the senior officers at the NCA spoke about the role that he played as a logistics man, and he helped notorious crime groups to move money, drugs and firearms. NCA Commander Martin Clark said, Thomas moved in the highest criminal circles and he was a logistics man in UK, Ireland and Europe, and he worked with some of the most notorious crime groups in the world. And they trusted him with their money and drugs. And they believed the offences he was convicted of represented the tip of the iceberg for the overall criminality that he was involved in. They believed that he's potentially shipped tons of drugs and tens of millions of pounds around the UK and Europe for crime gangs. So this story was massive when we covered this. I think we got over 300,000 views on the original story of Thomas Maher's arrest and conviction. And since they've released more information about it, it gives a bit more of an insight into the effects that Encrochat had, and the fact that lockdown happened, the double whammy, had a massive effect on the industry to do with drugs and crime in the UK. So it'd be interesting to see the effect that it has as we come out of lockdown and as people start to get back to normal. Will this be a long-term dent in the economy, or will it jump back up bigger and better than ever? I really want to hear what people have to say on these stories. Please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. I'll be back again very shortly with some more news. Peace.